Hello friends, welcome to Wawa AS. Welcome to the discussion on daily MCQ. Today is 22nd of July 2021 and now we are going to discuss 5 current affair based MCQs. चलिए शुरू करते हैं. First let us discuss the question that was asked yesterday. Yesterday's question was the Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats meet at A. Cardamom Hills, B. Nilgiri Hills, C. Annamalai Hills and D. Palani Hills. So here we have to choose the correct answer and some of you have given the correct answer as well. Yesterday it was Abzur Qureshi, Divya Vasisht and Shubham Basak who gave the correct answer. Now let's discuss this question. So in India we have two types of Ghats, the Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats. And as we know, the Western Ghats are very ecologically sensitive and they are also to an extent part of the tropical forest, right? So if you see the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, they meet at the Nilgiri Hills. The Nilgiri Hills are located in Tamil Nadu. They are located in Tamil Nadu and both of them intersect at Nilgiri Hills. They are almost, you can say, to the south of Tamil Nadu, right? Almost you can say they are at the border of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, right? This is about the Nilgiri Hills. Now let's move on. And guys, as you know, daily we upload 5 current affair based MCQs and their solutions in this PDF format in our Telegram channel. So if you want to download it, you can download it for free from our Telegram channel and the Telegram channel details are there in the description. So do join it. Now let's begin the discussion. The first question, India Inequality Report 2021 is released by A. World Economic Forum, B. Oxfam India, C. UNDP and D. SARC. So here we have to choose the correct answer. So if you see India Inequality Report 2021, so recently it was released by Oxfam India. So correct answer is B. Oxfam in India. So that's why this was the news. So if you see this India Inequality Index, India Inequality Report, which was released by the Oxfam India, it stated India's low spending on public healthcare system and focus on supporting private healthcare. And this report says that this led to serious inequality in the health sector. Because as we know, the quality of services in the public sector and the public sector vary, and people who have money have benefited from this. And this report also highlighted that the states that have for the past few years been reducing the inequalities, such as inequalities to access health between the general category and SC/ST population, they have less confirmed COVID cases. So that means this gap which exists in the health sector between the haves and have-nots, so that has immensely affected the COVID cases. This is what this report said, and this report also highlighted that the states that have higher GDP expenditure on health have higher recovery rate of the COVID cases. So that means you can say the public spending on health, that means the government spending on health actually is directly related to the COVID cases, the number of COVID cases as well as the COVID recovery also, right? So this is all the information about this report, the Oxfam's India Inequality Report, right? Now let's move on to the next question. The second question, which of the following rights are included in the ambit of Article 21? First one, right to a speedy trial. Second one, right to electricity. Third one, right to sleep. So here we have to choose the correct answer. So if you see this Article 21, which talks about the right to life. It talks about right to life, and if you see among all the articles, it is this Article 21 which is the most expanded, and this has very broad meaning as well. So that's why the Article 21 is very much important. So all these three, the right to speedy trial, right to electricity and right to sleep, all these three are part of the Article 21. So recently in the Bhima Koregaon caste violence, so this has highlighted the issue of under trials, and the Supreme Court has said that right to speedy trial is a fundamental right of the citizen, because if the citizens keep on waiting for the trial and there are a lot of under trials, that means the cases which are not heard properly, and because of this the people who are not convicts, they are staying in jail because they can't afford a good lawyer for the bail. So that's one of the reasons. So that means their fundamental rights are curbed. So that's why the Supreme Court said that the right to speedy trial is also a fundamental right under Article 21. So actually this Article 21 expansion started from the Maneka Gandhi case. So the Supreme Court over the course of time actually has expanded the meaning of Article 21. So right to life includes various other things. So right to life includes right to live with human dignity, right to the decent environment including pollution-free water and air and protection against hazardous industries, right to livelihood, right to privacy, right to shelter, right to health, and this right to free education up to 14 years, right to free legal aid, right against solitary confinement, right to speedy trial, right against handcuffing, right against inhuman treatment, again delayed execution, the traveling abroad, right against bonded labor, right against custodial harassment, right to emergency aid. There are even other things also, but these few things are important for us from the examination point of view. We just need to know the meaning of Article 21, and if there are any recent cases, that is what we need to remember properly. Okay? Now let's move on to the next question. Third question. Consider the following statements with respect to the Commission for Air Quality Management. Commission for Air Quality Management. First one, it is a statutory authority formed after the discussion of Environment Pollution Prevention Control Authority. Second one, it will supersede central and state pollution boards of Delhi and all other states. So here we have to choose the correct answer. A 1 only, B 2 only, C both 1 and 2, and D neither 1 nor 2. So if we see this Commission for Air Quality Management, so this is a statutory body which is formed after the dissolution. So not discussion. I think I said dissolution. Sorry, discussion. It is dissolution, which is formed after the dissolution of Environment Protection Authority. So this statement is right. The second statement, it will supersede central and state pollution boards of Delhi and all other states. This is wrong because it will supersede the center and the state pollution boards of only few states, and those states are Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, UP, and Rajasthan. Because if you see the air quality of Delhi, this is very poor, and for this the neighboring states is one of the main reason. So that's why this was brought in. So here if you see the first statement is right and the second statement is wrong. So A 1 only is the correct answer. So the Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Bill 2021, this will be introduced in the Parliament by the Minister of Environment. So that's why this was in news. And this bill takes into consideration the concerns of the farmers following several rounds of negotiation, because it is the farmers who actually burn this crop residue, and because of that the pollution is increasing in the winter times. Okay, so that's why to address all of these concerns, to addressing the concerns of the farmers is also another important thing. And the commission was first formed by an ordinance in October 2020. Okay, so this commission what we talked about, the Commission for Air Quality Management. So this commission was was formed by an ordinance in October 2020, and the erstwhile Environmental Pollution Authority or EPCA has been dissolved to make way for this commission, and this commission is a statutory commission because the earlier commission was not statutory, and the commission will supersede bodies of central and state pollution boards of Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, UP, and Rajasthan, these states. And if you see the chairperson, so this will be chaired by the government official of the rank of secretary or chief secretary, and the chairperson will hold the post for 3 years or until he attains 70 years. So 3 years or 70 years is the age for the person. And this committee, if you see, this will have members from several ministries, and also this will have members who are experts from the Central Pollution Control Board, ISRO, and civil society as well. So this will have all the experts, and all the experts will take a unanimous decision to reduce the pollution in the Delhi and the surrounding regions. And if you see the powers and functions of this commission, it will have the power to issue direction to the state governments pertaining to pollution, and it will also entertain the complaints with regarding to the air pollution and the air quality. And this will also lay down certain parameters for the control of air pollution, and this will also be in charge of identifying the violators and monitoring factories, and also fine them all as well. And this will have the power to overrule directives issued by the state government in the region that may violate the pollution norms. So this committee is given various powers superseding the state and the central pollution control boards, in order to ensure that the pollution reduces in the national capital region. So this is all the information about this Commission for Air Quality Management. So now let's move on to the next question, the fourth question. Consider the following statements with respect to Adarsh Smarak scheme. First one, it was launched in 2014 by Ministry of Environment for providing improved visitor amenities at the monuments, especially for the physically challenged. Second one, a total of 100 monuments protected by the Archaeological Survey of India are being developed and maintained as Adarsh monuments under the scheme. So here we have to choose the correct answer. So if you see Adarsh Smarak scheme, so this was launched in 2014, this is right. But if you see, this scheme is actually talking about the monuments, their protection, and also improving the visitor amenities. So if you see, all of these things generally is taken care by the Ministry of Culture. The Ministry of Culture will take care of all such things, but not the Ministry of Environment. So the first statement is wrong, but the second statement is right. So B 2 only is the correct answer. So recently the monuments at Nagarjunakonda, The Buddhist remains at Salihunda and Veerbhadra temple at Lepakshi are identified as Adarsh Smarak in Andhra Pradesh for providing additional facilities. So under this Adarsh Smarak, some additional facilities like visitor amenities, especially for the physically challenged, they will be kept, or you can say they will be enhanced in these Adarsh Smarak sites. And this was launched by the government of this was launched by the Ministry of Culture in 2014, and currently a total of 100 monuments are protected by the Archaeological Survey of India, and they are being developed and maintained as Adarsh Smarak under the scheme. Sorry. Adarsh Smarak under the scheme, and a lot of civic amenities will be developed in these sites, and the objectives of the scheme is mainly to ensure the amenities are increased for the visitors so that the tourism can increase at these places, and also to make monuments visitor friendly. This is an important thing. So it has to be visitor friendly, and also the basic amenities like washrooms, water facilities, cafeteria, Wi-Fi facility, this has to be there as well. And also to provide interpretation and audio video centers, this is also another important thing. And also another important thing is to make monuments accessible to differently able people. Okay, so this is another important thing, and also this will help in implementing the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, right? So these are the important things about the Adarsh Smarak scheme. Now let's move on to the next question. The fifth question. The Kapu community primarily is an agrarian community based in the A. Kutch region, B. West Bengal region, C. Andhra Telangana region, and D. Punjab Haryana region. So the Kapu community is basically an agrarian community belonging to C. Andhra Telangana region. So recently this was in news because the Andhra Pradesh government has announced 10% reservation for the Kapu community and other economically weaker sections for the appointment in the initial post and services in the state government, and this reservation is extended in according with the constitution, that is 103rd Amendment Act of 2019. So the Kapus are primarily an agrarian community in this region of Andhra and Telangana, and it is believed that they migrated from the Gangetic plain, probably from the Kampial near Ayodhya thousands of years ago, and they entered what is the present day called Telangana after clearing the forest along the bank of Godavari and settling down to farming. This Kapu community is actually demanding for a backward class category like they were before the independence, so that they can get a bit more reservation. Okay? So this is about the Kapu community. Remember, it is from Andhra Telangana region. Now let's look at the question of the day. The question of the day is, the 49th parallel is the boundary line between which two countries? A. USA and Canada, B. North and South Vietnam, C. Germany and France, and D. Brazil and Chile. So do give your answer in the comment box, and tomorrow we will discuss this question. Okay? And guys, before I leave, a small information regarding our initiatives. We have launched Vision PT 365, Vision Prelims Test Series, Vision Monthly Magazine, and Vision Mains Test Series summaries. Do utilize all of these summaries to enhance your preparation and enhance your prelims score as well. This is very much important from the examination point of view. Okay, because as you know, the revision plays a very key role, and do use these type of documents for the revision. Okay, so that's it guys for the day. I'll see you again tomorrow with 5 more MCQs. Till then, keep studying and stay tuned. Jai Hind.